Hello and namaskar. We are back again, back with another domain, another focused area of career and another guru in our program Career Corner. As you know, every day we come out with one specialized domain to discuss, and today we have electrical engineering, a very important, traditional, long drawn, well known domain of engineering and technology, electrical engineering. And to discuss that, we have a guru of the field who looks also like a guru, as you'll find, Professor Dr. Anish Deb. By the way, guys who are into literature might have actually heard his name in the context of children's literature in Bengal. Yes, we'll discuss that on the side, but he is the head of the Department of Electrical Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Adamas University, Bengal. Welcome to the show, Dr.
Thank you,
Anish
sir.
Deb.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming, and I'll be looking forward to, because I'm a person of social science, I'll be looking forward to a 1 hour of Gyan on Shuddha Gyan on electrical engineering. Sir, power is basic to our life today. We can't exist without power.
Sir.
My mobile doesn't work, these lights should not be burning, and I would not be, any one of us would not be even moving. We can't think of a civilization without power. In fact, any society without power would be powerless in the real sense, in a different sense.
Of course.
Will be powerless and hardly can be called as civilization. What is the origin of power or electricity? How did it start initially?
Actually, sir, everything in fact was initiated in the year 1831, because an extraordinary thing happened to the world. What happened? Michael Faraday, he showed us an experiment which was involving electromagnetic induction. He discovered this phenomenon and demonstrated in front of audience that how it can work. Actually, he used one bar magnet and one coil which was connected to a galvanometer. So, the circuit was complete and he started moving the magnet towards the coil and then away from the coil. People watched that while the bar magnet was in movement, was in motion, a flicker was noticed in the galvanometer, which meant that this mechanical motion has initiated some electrical current, very small maybe, to flow through the coil. So, this was a phenomenal experiment which was performed by Faraday, Michael Faraday that day. But to know Faraday's background, I think people will be astonished. He was a boy doing work in a local binding work, book binding work. While he was binding the books that he had, what he did, he went through the books. Though he was not matured enough to understand the matter of the book, still then he did it. And finally, he was picked up by Humphrey Davy. I think you have heard of Humphrey Davy's name, connected to Davy's safety lamp used by miners in mines. Faraday became assistant to Humphrey Davy, and Davy was a very charismatic scientist at that time. He delivered lectures at many institutes and many places, and he took Michael Faraday along with him to help him giving the books or notes like that, like errand boy. But what Faraday did, he sat during the lecture and tried to make notes from those lectures, and thus he educated himself. And I am sorry to inform you that Humphrey Davy and his wife both very ill treated Michael Faraday during the time he was with them. But you know, history shows us something. Today we worship the name of Michael Faraday, and we have forgotten the name of, or rather almost forgotten the name of Humphrey Davy, because we do not use Davy's safety lamp no more. What happened when Michael Faraday showed by this experiment that motion can create electrical current, and that was the initiation of electric generator. So, you can give mechanical motion and you can get back electricity, and also it helped to invent transformer, that is, we have AC voltage at one level, we use transformer and we change the voltage to a different level, which will be useful for us or rather convenient to us. Thus, the electrical engineering was initiated from 1831.
Great. So that's the beginning of the journey of something that has empowered mankind to such an extent that we cannot think of even half an hour of our life today almost without access to power, without access to electricity. As we know, the concept of electricity, or in other words, in common parlance, power, has, and it's also called energy in some parlance, has various sources. The source that has come to thermal power, which is the dominant one used in India, is one predominant source, but there are many other sources. Sir, could you talk about the various sources of energy, power or electricity?
Yes, sir. Normally, the power we use across India is mostly from thermal power plants, and we have support from nuclear power plants, major part. And what happens in thermal power plants, we burn coal to get heat, and that heat is used to make steam out of water, and we superheat that steam, and that superheated steam turns the steam turbine, and we have one electric generator connected to the turbine shaft, and the rotor of the generator thus rotates and electricity is created. But you know, we burn coal, which is a fossil fuel, and the storage of coal on earth is very limited and it is diminishing day by day. So, we cannot be at peace by using fossil fuels every day, because we are alarmed by the crisis which lies ahead. People think that at estimated time of about 50 years, after that we won't have any coal anymore. So, people have tried to find out other supports by which we can create power, electrical energy. One is nuclear fuel, but there is a problem that what about the nuclear waste, which is harmful to human being. The rule is you have to keep the nuclear waste confined in a thick lead box, a box made up of lead, very thick lead sheet, and then you keep the nuclear waste there, then the radiation won't be able to come out, and you have to keep that lead box buried about 10 feet under the earth, so that it cannot harm the human being. So, we see that in thermal power plant we have the constraint of fossil fuel, and also there is another constraint, air pollution. After generating power, or rather while generating power, we have the emitted gas coming through the tall chimneys. What are those gases? We have carbon dioxide, but along with it we have carbon monoxide, carbon particles and traces of sulfur dioxide. So, you know, apart from carbon dioxide, the other gases and carbon particles, unburned fuel, those are very, very harmful to human beings. So, we find that the air is polluted as we run the thermal power plants, and also in nuclear power plant we have this nuclear waste problem. So, that is why hydel power plants are coming up day by day, and also we are moving towards solar energy as a backup and pollution free world.
Yes, there are various other sources, particularly the term that we use, renewable source of power, whether it's about solar energy, biomass and many other sources of power. In my opinion, these renewable sources or non-conventional sources are actually the conventional ones in a way, because solar or biomass is as old as the planet itself or the solar system itself. So the source of power from sun or biomass or wind, for example, or tidal waves could be a strong source of power, and the world has to move towards cleaner power. Yes, why sometimes, you have explained very well why nuclear power is considered to be unclean power, but many a time coal-based or thermal-based power is also considered to be unclean. Why so?
Actually, sir, I mentioned one or two lines about it, because when we use coal, if we burn coal to generate heat, we create carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. The coal which is not fully burnt, it will create carbon monoxide, and also we have some unburnt coal along with carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Better I will give an example of a moving car driven by IC engine, that is where we have the petrol or diesel as fuel. These are also fossil fuels and their stock is also limited. When a car runs along, if we look at the silencer pipe, the exhaust gas is coming out. Whenever the exhaust gas is whitish, that means it contains excess air which was taken in for combustion.
Okay.
What is negative about it? That excess air takes out heat from the engine that you have created, which goes out into the atmosphere, being useless to the energy of the car.
That's
So-
why a lot of white smoke coming out from vehicles is considered to be very harmful.
Yes, sir.
And there is a mechanism to reduce that wastage as well
Yes,
in
sir.
the car combustion.
We need to control the air that we take in for combustion.
Right.
And whenever you see black smoke coming out of a silencer pipe, it means many unburnt carbon particles are there. That is, the combustion you are supposed to do in the engine, it is incomplete, and carbon particles, they are coming out, meaning your fuel, petroleum or your diesel are wasted. So when you see a new car running along, you will find that hardly you can see the gas coming out of the silencer pipe. That is the almost perfect combustion. There we do not have excess air and we do not have unburned fuel.
Great, great. There is this, once upon a time, the impact of coal was so important with respect to running of trains and with respect to creating electricity, that there was a whole coal mafia. Eastern part of India, several states, and currently Jharkhand, currently Bihar, and a part of West Bengal had a huge coal mafia. Those who traded in coal, illegal coal mining and smuggling of coal from the government sector and using them and selling in the open market and things like that. So the impact of coal mafia has gone down the ages, and today there is not so much of the business around, the illegal business around coal has gone down. So what do you think are the factors that have led to, apart from the factor that you said of the pollution created by burnt and unburnt or less burnt, half burnt coal, both you said very well, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. So apart from that, what factors might have led to the decline of coal as a currency of electrical power?
Sir, actually decline of coal as a currency to electrical power, I have explained the reasons, and also the activities of coal mafias. These have been reduced due to another reason, because in earlier days people used coal for their daily cooking job. Now we have this gas cylinders and gas ovens used almost in many places in urban areas and a part of suburban areas. So the demand for coal has gone down, but the quality of coal that we normally have in India is not very good. There we have actually about 20 to 30% ash content, that is in the coal. Suppose you have 1 kg of coal, if you burn it, only you will have 70% material which is carbon you can burn, and the rest 30% is known as ash, which will remain there even if you burn the coal. So if the ash content is high, then it will be a loss for the power plant, because by burning so many kgs or tons of coal, they will get less electrical power, because they are going to get less heat. So, that is why use of coal is mostly restricted to few village areas, and we have use in thermal power plants still now, but we are now having hydel power plants coming up as support, and also in future I am sure that we are going to have this solar power coming in, and it is now about 2% of the whole power that we generate across the world. So, it is increasing day by day, and I think within 30 to 40 years we will be having a much larger chunk of solar power in India.
Very good. When I was in Nepal for a couple of years, I found that every home, almost every home, has a solar panel or several solar panels above on their terrace. And a part of the household requirements, including heating of the bathroom water, or washing clothes and washing utensils, these heating was done by solar power, if not the regular power supply in the house. Yes, when there was power shortage or power blockage, or what you call as blackouts, that time the solar power, also some emergency lights were lit up by solar power. So, there is a big contribution of solar power in the lives of every citizen in a small country like Nepal, and it has a strong wind as well, and there is the solar, and the sun's rays are stronger quite across the slopes of the mountains, and this was very interesting to see. Even when the plane is to come down on Kathmandu Valley, I used to see this chain of a series of solar panels on the terraces of homes. What a great sight, and what a great use of something which we get free of cost, the power from sun. Yes, the other case study I would like to point out is 92% or more by now, but at least 92% few years ago, of vehicles in Israel run not on fossil fuel. They do not run on petrol or diesel. They run on captured solar power, biomass power, batteries, and many other mix of several other sources of power. And solar cars have also started plying in Amsterdam. I stayed there for a year, and I found that if you take solar driven cabs, you were given a cut in the fare as well. So, they were encouraging solar cabs to be taken, solar power driven cabs to be hired. So, how do you think is the future of, because one of the major source of use of power is vehicles, automobile movement. What do you think is the future of renewable, so-called non-conventional energy in the context of automobile movements?
Actually, we have in India, we have already started producing electric vehicles, and we can see buses running across the streets of Kolkata, which are driven by electric motors. Actually, whenever we see something moving, we must think that there is a motor behind it, and that motor is driven by some voltage, otherwise the motor cannot run. So, generation of electricity is one part, and motor is another part. And private cars like four-wheelers and also two-wheelers, they are being manufactured in India, and by the end of I think this year, we are going to have these four-wheelers down on the road, and already we have two-wheeler models running on solar power. Actually, when we take power from solar energy, we have batteries, they are charged, and that battery voltage is converted to three-phase AC using power electronic circuits, inverters, and that AC is used in a permanent magnet synchronous motor, so that the car runs by that motor. And also we have extra facilities in this kind of cars, that is, we have this regenerative braking, that is, when we want to brake, we make the motor regenerate, that is, the motor runs as generator, and it feeds power back to the batteries. So, this is the positive part. Initially the cost of such cars are a bit higher compared to our ICE, that is ICE engine driven cars, but also we have extra advantages, that is efficiency is almost 3 times that of ICE engines. In case of ICE engines, we have an efficiency of 20 to 25%, and in case of this electric motor operated vehicles, we have efficiency above 50%.
Very good, very good. That's a higher efficiency, better environment care, lesser pollution, renewable, energy is renewable, not consumed once for all, obviously lesser cost, huge amount of benefits that are associated with the non-fossil fuel power. And sustainability, this pandemic that we are into has taught us that sustainability is the future. You can comment on that, sir. What has been the impact of COVID-19 in the world of power and energy?
Sir, COVID-19 in fact has stalled every sphere of life temporarily. I put strength on this word temporarily because we human beings, or rather human civilization, it's a very strong part to deal with, and nothing can press us so hard that we cannot stand up again. So, we are fighting with it. In what way? We are adjusting our mode of life to suit this pandemic situation all over the world, all over the world. Actually, if we look back about 4 months in India, we can see what our lifestyle was, what our habits were. And if we look now, we never imagined, by we I mean we all, we never imagined that I would sustain myself in such situation and cope up with life in a successful manner and fight out the pressure of the pandemic. I think so, sir.
Indeed, but on the power sector, there has been some change of behavior of people, and there are certain messages from the pandemic scenario itself on power consumption of the future. If you could comment on that.
Sir, in fact, power consumption, I think since people are staying at home mostly, so power consumption I think has increased temporarily. And initially the load pattern around the day was different, but during these 3-4 months the pattern has changed, and the power stations, they are coping up with this load changes. I think I will explain the term load, otherwise
yes, please do that. Please
yes, sir,
do that.
Yes, sir. Actually, the load means electrical load. Suppose some generator is supplying a power of 10 kilowatt, then the load on the generator is 10 kilowatt. And when we talk about 10 kilowatt, since the voltage supply should be constant or it will be more or less constant, we talk in terms of current. So, when we say load, we can also mean current considering the voltage is constant. So, when we say load, we either mean current or we can mean the power, that is kilowatt, megawatt, whatever. So, when the load cycle of a power plant, we consider in the morning mostly the domestic lamps and lights are switched off. So, this power demand will be off, that is load will be lessened to some extent. In summer the fans will be on, so that will create some load. In winter these fans won't be on anymore. So, in the daytime we have this load lessened by switching off the lamps and also by the fans which are switched off around the day. So, power demand is less in winter. So, power crisis is very less because we have small domestic loads, but in summer it increases. And also during evening time, when everybody puts on their lamps lights, etc., then a sudden load is incurred on the generator supplying the load or rather delivering the power. So, we have to be prepared for that in evening time, and also after 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock we again have some slump in load, because in many houses we have lights or in winter fans switched off. So, the load again goes down. So, this load cycle load pattern can be watched by the power station, and they accordingly gear their generator so that the generator is able to cope up with this load cycle and act actively and supply power to all the citizens.
Thank you. One point only I would like to contest here, that when you say that people are staying home and therefore the average load of power at homes have increased, as far as individual consumption is concerned, or household consumption is concerned, you are right, it has increased. But since a large part of business operations have come down or had been closed during the full lockdown period that has happened in India, there has been also a reduction in the overall power consumption, commercial power consumption.
Yes, sir, industrial power.
Industrial power consumption, that's true. However, now it's coming back to life and there is an increase in power consumption. So, if you look at the next 10 years, because 10 years itself is a long time, what is the power scenario you would like to see by 2030? What do you expect? How much will be the consumption of coal based, thermal based, fossil fuel based, solar based and other renewable, nuclear based and other renewable sources like biomass, tidal waves or wind energy altogether? What would be the components of, roughly the components of each? How shall we be performing, whether it's household electricity, commercial electricity, industrial electricity or mobility, that is transport electricity? What will be the scenario?
Sir, actually I think many of us have seen solar powered street lights along this urban areas and mostly suburban areas already in operation, solar powered street lights. And also, as we mentioned earlier, you have seen solar power different gadgets in Nepal. In our country also we have this solar powered units for homes, small units, and also we are focusing on hydel power and solar power mostly, because for using wind power we need some special topology where the wind speed is sufficient to give us electrical power by way of its speed, and finally this inverter, wind turbine, then inverter, then generator, this system. So, mostly you will find that we are going for micro hydel power stations now to supplement our thermal power. So, the demand on thermal power is being reduced by the support of hydel power stations, micro hydel power stations, and in the future in 10 years I think many solar powered units will come up, but not in the form of a solar power plant. It will be distributed units like in foreign countries. I have seen that the surface of a building are fixed with solar panels. That is in one way aesthetic, because it looks like shining glass plates, but those are actually solar panels, and from that solar panel or those solar panels the building is getting its electrical power even at night, because during daytime we directly use these voltages coming out of the solar panels and we charge batteries so that they can serve us in the night time.
Great, thank you. You have given a huge background to the history, evolution, current status and future of energy, power, electricity in all its forms: sustainable, unsustainable, traditional, conventional or modern, renewable, non-conventional. Thank you for that background. Coming to your particular department, you have BTech, MTech and if I am not wrong even PhD. If you could speak about what programs you have and how are you modernizing your programs, how are electrical engineering programs of your department different from similar other programs of other universities, because every engineering college has an electrical department. Over to you, sir.
Sir, actually in our department we have a BTech in electrical engineering with specialization in sustainable energy, and we have the traditional BTech, the vanilla course as well, and we have MTech course in power and energy systems. Now, to have BTech in electrical engineering, we need to study, or rather we need the students to study some traditional courses which are actually the pillars of electrical engineering, like electric circuits, electrical and electronic measurement, electrical machines, power systems, modern control systems, electric drives, etc. These subjects we need, because these are the pillars of electrical engineering, and electrical engineer without knowing one of these subjects will be in lacuna. I think he won't be a complete electrical engineer at all. So, we have these subjects which are very much needed for the students to become an electrical engineer, and in addition to that we have introduced sustainable energy specialization, where we have solar energy engineering theory as well as laboratory, and we have sustainable energy theory paper and also laboratory paper, and we have solar photovoltaic system design. Solar photovoltaic system design meaning the technology of solar panels, how they are used to get electrical power out of it. We have energy storage from renewable resources. Energy storage means we have the resources and we store in batteries, so that we can use later at our will, and we have this photovoltaic lab. I think by introducing these topics in our special BTech special, what we call BTech plus electrical engineering course, we have made it lucrative enough, and which is something that attracts young students who want to learn electrical engineering with a difference. And also we have so many companies in India itself who are dealing with solar power and solar energy. So, job opportunities are also quite good.
Very good. You can speak about that. In fact, placements, job opportunities, particularly in times to come when there will be a lot of change in the energy sector. What are the job opportunities now and you are expecting ahead, and major companies and all?
Sir, actually we see that the technology in the world is taking some turn, and when we see that solar power is becoming an important component around the world, so it is not untrue that we won't have this solar power coming around the corner in India itself. As I said, we already have so many companies dealing with solar panels and solar power in and around India, and whenever we move in a car or in a train, we can find tall buildings having a shining rectangular panel fixed on the roof, which is nothing but solar panels, which is taking in solar energy and giving out electrical power. So, already we have this solar power use in many buildings of the cities. So, we expect it to grow within years, and also I think students coming out of say any university or institute with the new kind of BTech degree that we have introduced, they will be in a stronger position after 4 years to be in demand to have jobs in the area of solar energy or sustainable energy.
Great. That also creates clarity on the aspect of jobs ahead as well. I would like to also ask, to bring in value added concepts, further specialization and value added inputs into electrical engineering education, what are the things your department and the university in general doing?
Actually, we are planning to have many courses in our School of engineering and technology, many courses which will be taught on online platform. We are preparing for that, and the students will be ready for the world after 4 years. So, they will find themselves in a very comfortable position to deal with such technology what they have learned on digital platform. And also we are allowing classroom teaching as well after this pandemic situation is over. So, we will be going for this hybrid learning, and I think it will be very beneficial to the students. And also we are redesigning our labs so that the students can absorb the most from the laboratories where they perform their experiments.
Great. I would also perhaps like to add here that there is a clear-cut course on professional development, and there is also a large amount of content in the form of career planning, which are added to every learner's life cycle, even in electrical engineering at Adamas University. They are also expected to be involved in a major minor scenario. So, a major in electrical engineering, a minor could be in law or filming or management or any other subject. They are also involved in 2 or 3 internships during the course, and alongside a social outreach program, a community outreach program. And there are courses also to add on to leadership, teamwork, and higher emotional intelligence. These are value-added courses, credits which are being added to make the life cycle or the life journey of a learner across 5 years on campus very productive, fruitful, yes. And they come out as a holistic personality and not just a narrow, focused, unilinear, one-dimensional individual. And there can be a better balancing between the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. Left side you take care very well, and the right side through all the other value-added aspects that's here.
Right, you are, sir.
Yes. Very quickly, now that we are talking about left and right, in your own life you have a left and right.
Yeah.
So, the left side is that you are a guru of electrical engineering, a scholar of that field with a PhD in that field, and has been teaching. So, you can speak a bit on your professional life over the last 30-40 years. And the right side of the brain is that you are a writer, a novelist, a children's literature. So, you could speak on the right side also. So, next few minutes you focus on your life, both on the left and the right, both as a professional in the field and as an academic, both as a writer and an electrical engineer. Over to you, Professor Deb.
Sir, actually I am an electrical engineer from head to my toe, and this happened when I was in 7th grade, 7th standard. I was always looking forward to where in my house any bulb has expired or any fan is not moving. I was looking for that, and if I found the fan is not working, I started dilly-dallying with the switch, with the regulator, with whatever. And also I copied one experiment from my textbook, that you take a soft iron bar and you wind few turns of wire around it, and you give a voltage supply to the terminals of the wire. The soft iron bar will be an electromagnet. I wanted to perform that experiment, and in the way I made all the lights and fans go out in my house, and finally I earned a few slaps from my mom.
That's a good beginning of an electrical engineer whose first experiment made the whole house without power,
so
without electricity.
I was really bogged down. What happened? I copied the experiment from book. I even counted the number of turns, same number of turns, but it didn't enter into my head at that age. The number of turns was very less, and the current which flowed through the coils, that coil for an instant was very high. That is why the fuses of my house blown out. And luckily I had one shop near my house which dealt with building and rebuilding generators and motors all the time. I spent a lot of time there, sitting with the mechanics there and also helping them out, like giving them the screwdriver and also this mallet or the coil of wire. They told me, hey, you bring it that coil to me, give it to me. So, I was an errand boy there and learning, and when the time came to enter into electrical engineering, fortunately I scored marks in HS which allowed me to join electrical engineering anywhere in West Bengal. But my mom and dad were worried that if I stay in a hostel, whether I will be able to survive physically, because I was very thin at that time. So, finally, I was pushed into physics honors BSc. So, I did that. After that, I found that there is a course in Calcutta University which is post BSc BTech course. So, I joined there and took electrical machine and power specialization. And my teachers at that time, they told me later, they were really surprised, who is this idiot who has joined with a good score in our department and took up as specialization electrical machine and power system. Why? Because at that time the trend was, if you have good marks, you take the stream measurement and instrumentation, not electrical machine and power system, because that was for lesser students, and there was another course on optics that was for even lesser students. But I did not make any mistake, I studied what I loved. So, in that way I came into electrical engineering, finished my BTech, then I studied my MTech, then I joined industry, Development Consultants Private Limited. They did consultancy and design related to thermal power plants. I stayed there for 3.5 years, then came back to Calcutta University and joined there as lecturer. The position now we call assistant professor was then called lecturer, and there finally I retired from my position of teaching position as a professor in 2016, and that is briefly my career. And in my career I have published 4 research level books from international publishers like Springer, CRC Press, etc. And also I happened to get a few medals in my career, 2 gold medals and a silver medal during my BTech and MTech studies, and I did research to publish more than 70 papers in different journals and conferences.
That's a true blue guru. That's a true blue guru of electrical engineering, who had been across 2 universities, Kolkata and Adamas, over a large period of time, preparing youngsters for the field of engineering. Thank you for this introduction that you have given to yourself. Can you talk about the future elements now, and we'll close with that. What are the future aspects of electrical engineering? What could be the focus areas of youngsters who are coming into the field going ahead?
Actually, sir, we have these minor courses along with the major courses, that is I think very much beneficial to the students, which has been introduced this year, and also we have capstone projects and outreach schemes. So, along with being an electrical engineer, a student passing out from our institute will become a real part of the society, doing actively support and favoring the society all the time. So, we do not create simply an electrical engineer, we create electrical engineer with a difference, so that he is an important part of the society and serving the society.
Yes, an electrical engineer in the true service of mankind. So, that is for you an introduction to the field of electricity, power and energy, from conventional to non-conventional, from renewable to non-renewable, from coal based energy, water or thermal based energy to nuclear and other solar and other forms of energy, how they are moving, which are the various new aspects in the field of energy, and also in details about the courses that are being taught at School of Engineering and Technology, Department of Electrical Engineering, given to you, presented to you by the head of the department and a guru of electrical engineering across 2 universities over his entire career that you have heard briefly just now, Professor Dr. Anish Deb. Thank you very much for your interaction with us.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, audience. We shall meet another day with another specialization very soon. Thank you.
Hey, welcome to aspirants. My research is on my way. I am very much proud to be a part of Adamas University.
Cricket is my passion and I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
You have misused, I believe.
Hi, I'm Debosmita Biswas.
This is Kunal Kanti Maiti.
I'm Srijo Nepal. This college has given me placement in one of the best companies in US staffing, which is Iconma. I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
Pursue excellence. Adamas University.
Biosciences and technological developments based on biology, including entrepreneurship in this sector, are on the rise in India. We are home to many developments in all forms of biotechnological products with applications in food, nutrition, healthcare, packaging, etc. The unique BTech and BSc programs in Adamas School of Biosciences and Biotechnology are path-breaking academic innovation in this sector. Welcome to the world of biotechnology. As India aims for $5 trillion economy, the nation needs a large pool of trained economists and commerce graduates, focusing on taxation, macro and microeconomics, etc. Adamas School of Economics and Commerce is in the mission preparing finance and economics professional to lead this journey with value-added modules on the stock market and big data. Education today is changing the traditional chalk and talk method into new age experiential learning. New techniques like flipped classroom, case study method, and increasingly higher component of learning by doing are changing the game. Also, evaluation processes are evolving from just semester end exam to continuous evaluation. Jury judge practical work, life projects, and whatnot. Adamas School of Education prepares these new age teachers for schools and colleges of India. It is important to be on the right side of the law and even more important to ensure justice for all. The Adamas School of Law and Justice firmly believes in this dictum. With moot courts, national and international seminars, debates and initiatives of various type, the law school offers integrated courses with BBA, BCom and BA as well, with different focus areas. A top-class hands-on engineering and technology education with high emphasis on soft skills, emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence learning, the Adama School of Engineering and Technology is a trailblazing institute. It integrates learning in the classroom with the laboratory, workshops, and the factories or the corporate offices. It is also associated with several universities in the world. With a 24-hour work culture, Adama School of Management prepares professionals for marketing, human resources, finance, supply chain management, and pharmaceutical management for the new Indian economy targeting $5 trillion annually. Close association with several top corporate houses and intellectual talent in the classroom, the school is proud to have one of the highest placement records in East and the Northeast India. With a 2% share of the India's GDP, the media industry is growing faster than India's GDP. And with the world's largest number of films and television channels, it is the national informer and entertainer. With more than 1,000 films a year, cinema is our soft power. News, entertainment, brand communication, we lead Asia in all. And a multi-skilled multimedia talent is being trained in the Adama School of Media and Communication. Pharmaceutical technology is on the rise in India in particular and Asia in general. And newer research in medicine is modernizing the sector immensely. We in India have the fastest growing pharma sector in the developing world today. Adama School of Pharmaceutical Technology, with its superb and detailed laboratory facilities, has one of the best pharma schools in the nation waiting to welcome you. Global society of nearly 8 billion people, with 1.3 billion in India, is going through a churn. Be it politics, economics, history, society, international relations, or in the literary expressions. There are major movements, growth initiatives, new literary trends, and the social issues rising in various parts of the world. Hence, the need to have an in-depth, perceptive education of liberal arts which encompasses all of these. Welcome to the Adama University School of Social Sciences.
ভালো রোজগার, কাজের স্বীকৃতি, স্বপ্নের চাকরি, এগুলোর জন্য কি শুধুই কঠোর পরিশ্রম যথেষ্ট? না, এটা পড়াশোনা এবং প্রফেশনাল ট্রেনিং এর একটা কম্বিনেশন। তাই যে এমন একটি কলেজ বা ইউনিভার্সিটি যেটা এই দুটোরই গ্যারান্টি দেয়, যেমন অ্যাডামাস ইউনিভার্সিটি। এখানে ছাত্ররা শুধু পরীক্ষায় দারুণ নম্বরই নয়, সঙ্গে পায় দুর্দান্ত প্লেসমেন্ট এবং কর্মজীবনের প্রয়োজনীয় দক্ষতা। তাই আজই নিজেকে রেজিস্টার করো অ্যাডামাস ইউনিভার্সিটির অ্যাডমিশন টেস্টে আর এগিয়ে যাও একটা উজ্জ্বল ভবিষ্যতের দিকে।